Africans worldwide are demonstrating and voicing their concerns about climate change.
We're here to raise our voices. We know that climate change is already started and it's killing us. We're here to tell our leaders to take a serious action.
Young people in 160 countries recently protested, calling for a climate emergency to be declared before it's too late.
It's going to affect everybody, rich or poor. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are in the world, it's going to influence you. So it's going to force us to work together. If we don't work together, we won't survive.
The demonstrations are partly led by a teenage climate change activist, Greta Thunberg, who on Monday opened the United Nations Climate Action Summit with an angry condemnation of world leaders for failing to take strong measures to combat climate change.
You all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones.
Experts say Africa is the most vulnerable continent to climate change and the least equipped to deal with it.
Essentially, young people have come together and said they are not going to allow this generation to not take decisive action on climate change.
Many African governments are pleading for more support from the international community.
We started this when we saw the effects in Kenya, the droughts in the north and the fires that were on Mount Kenya. We were really upset that no one did anything about it, and we were seeing people in Europe and in the US, they were protesting about this, but we realized that here nothing was being done, so that's why we wanted to start.
A new United Nations report entitled The Heat Is On showcases how the world can take swift and meaningful action on climate change. At a launch event in New York, Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, spoke about what she would like to see happen.
When I look back on this Climate Action Summit, I want us to see this as a slingshot, that springboard to helping to change our common trajectory towards sustainability, where we build trust between this generation of adults and the next, between our children and ourselves, and that we are all working together to our fullest potential to tackle the climate emergency.
The Central African nation of Gabon is working diligently to battle climate change. The United Nations announced this week that it is said to become the first African country to be paid with international funds to preserve its forests to fight climate change.
We signed an agreement which commits Norway to paying up to $150 million to Gabon for reduced emissions from the forestry sector. So reduced emissions from deforestation or from the degradation of the forests.
According to the Central African Forest Initiative, a program launched by the United Nations to bring together the region's countries with Western donors. The UN invited nearly 500 young activists and entrepreneurs to participate in this week's UN climate change meeting, the first of its kind. Unfortunately, some activists were unable to attend after being denied a US visa. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.